Imagine that you're in paradise. Literal paradise. No taxes, no war, no filthy, godless communists. But there's a problem. You're in the Garden of Eden, it's perfect, there's a stick. It's a great stick. Good grip, sharp end. Maybe you were gonna whittle it into a spear or just poke some animals with it. Maybe it has some significant history or sentimental value, making it irreplaceable. Thing is, you and your buddy both want the same stick, and now there's an awkward silence, right? Adam reaches for it, Eve gives him a look, and suddenly we've got humanity's first argument. Two naked morons fighting over a stick. You can actually see this recreated today if you visit California. Let me tell you, homeless people and fentanyl are a hell of a combination, you gotta love it. Anyway, scarcity. Even in utopian paradise, it's a thing. So what is scarcity? It's not just about not having enough stuff. Scarcity happens anytime one person's use of something prevents someone else from using it. Any conflict over ownership. Like that stick. If you have it, I can't have it. That's scarcity. Scarcity is, ultimately, the problem that all economic systems are looking to solve. Commies and socialists look to solve it through forceful redistribution and collective ownership of things. Capitalists, on the other hand, seek to solve the problem of scarcity through voluntary exchange, private property, and innovation, driven by self-interest. Instead of coercion, capitalism relies on the incentives created by markets. The promise of profit encourages individuals to create, innovate, and allocate resources more efficiently. Under socialism, the stick becomes a community project. You're going to spend 6 months in committee meetings deciding who gets to use it first. Under capitalism, someone just manufactures sticks and sells them to anyone who wants one. No committees required. Let's say that Eve suddenly becomes herself a socialist and demands they collectively own the stick. Because realistically, it would be a woman that would bring that shit into the world. Socialism is an effeminate ideology, after all. So, Eve pipes up with her collectivist nonsense. Adam, we should both share the stick equally. It's only fair. And Adam, being a reasonable dude, looks at her like she's grown a second head. He knows what's up. This isn't about fairness, it's about control. Because the moment Eve gets a say in collective ownership, guess who's deciding when Adam gets to use a stick? Not Adam. Now, Adam's a red-blooded, stick-owning kind of guy, so he tries to reason with her. Look, Eve, this is my stick. I found it, I shaped it, I sodomized the chimp over there with it for good measure. Property rights, sweetheart. That's how we keep society from degrading into chaos. Eve rolls her eyes and hits him with a classic. Property is theft. Oh boy, now Adam's got 3 problems. Scarcity, philosophy, and a bitchy broad. But here's the kicker. Without clear ownership, there's no incentive to take care of the stick. There's no incentive to use it responsibly and carefully. If they both own it, neither of them really does. So when Eve inevitably uses it to dig a hole or stuff it up her pussy, and the stick breaks, guess who's left empty-handed? That's right, everybody. And the stick, once a symbol of human ingenuity, becomes just another casualty of socialism. R.I.P. stick. Meanwhile, in a capitalist framework, Adam would be incentivized to take care of his stick. It's his, and it would be his ass if it breaks. And even if it did break, he would just go out, innovate, and make another stick. Maybe this time with better wood and a cooler design. Competition would follow. Cain would launch Stick Co. Abel would invent a stick made of carbon fiber, and the free market would explode with options. Everybody gets sticks. Problem solved. Boom. God, I fucking hate that those retarded Instagram reel kids, fucking Big Justice of Rizzler, ruined the fucking word boom. Can't even fucking, I'm talking to you in a script, in a video. I can't even say the word boom without thinking of the, God, that fucking pisses me off. I'm gonna go fucking lose my shit, holy crap. Anyway, that's the beauty of capitalism. It rewards effort and ingenuity. It doesn't matter if you're Adam, Eve, or the serpent. If you make something valuable, you win. But socialism? It's all fun and games until Eve collectivizes the apples, the serpent unionizes, and Adam gets taxed half his ribs for healthcare. I tell ya, Eden was just fine until the commies came along. Socialists look at Eden and think, yeah, but where's the state-run housing? They made Adam get a permit for his fig leaf. They ended up getting kicked out because they violated God's property rights by eating from the tree of knowledge. There's no working with these people, swear to God. It's really a good thing that in Eden, Adam and Eve didn't have a Politburo to ration sticks. If they had, Eve would have ended up with a twig and Adam with a splinter. Now you might think, okay, but what if we had unlimited sticks? Sure, you could plant a stick tree, but even then, the time it takes to chop, sharpen, and use those sticks, the time it takes to transport sticks and disperse them, that's still scarce. And that's assuming the stick doesn't have other uses to increase demand, like poking snakes. Which, frankly, is an underrated pastime and something especially useful in the Garden of Eden, clearly. I don't hate snakes or anything, by the way, but they don't have limbs and really should be exterminated for that alone. They're freaks. Monsters, frankly. Hey, actually, come to think of it, how would you crucify a snake? Guess you wouldn't use a cross, would you? You'd use a post or something. You know? Be a much more retarded symbol for a major religion. You wouldn't have a cross, you would just have a post. A post, or a stake, or a stick. Holy shit, we found another use for him. Someone call the marketing department. Scarcity doesn't just mean running out of stuff, it's also about choices. If I'm using a resource for this, I can't use it for that. Economists call this opportunity cost. Regular folks call it, why can't I have my cake and eat it too? Every choice has an opportunity cost, like the guy who spends his time painting signs for climate protests instead of doing something useful for society, like learning to tie a noose. Talk about missed opportunities. To understand the problem of scarcity, let's say there's a society of immortal people who have colonies all across the universe. They control all resources there are, essentially infinite resources in effect. There will still be scarcity in this world introduced by necessary choice. At any given time, the number of resources are limited, right? Resources are only practically unlimited if you multiply by infinite time. If at any given time, therefore, resources are limited, choices must be made. The condition of things will degrade if not maintained. You must then make choices. You must choose what things to maintain, what things to let decay and fall into ruin, what products to invest in, and what technologies to let lay stagnant. You can't live across infinite years simultaneously. Therefore, resources are scarce at any given point in time. Capitalism thrives off this scarcity. Socialism chokes on it. But they'll still insist that collectivist ownership is a practical solution to the issue of scarcity, which isn't that surprising. You expect rationality from these morons? These people talk about eating the rich while suffering from morbid obesity. They don't have the priorities straight. Even if somehow they had infinite resources at all times, by the way, people will still try and avoid loss. The scarcity just shifts from something material to something immaterial. Not all infinites are equal, it turns out, and people don't only care about monetary status. Social status is of immense importance to people as well, and that's also scarcity. One way to obtain social status? To have possession of a larger infinite than someone else. So capitalism still works fine under these circumstances. Let's see how our hypothetical socialist utopia does with seemingly infinite resources. Here's the thing. Socialism doesn't just fail because of scarcity, it fails because of people. And people, my friends, are a problem that no amount of resources can solve. See, socialism thrives on the delusion that humans are perfectible. It assumes that if you remove material scarcity, everyone will just magically work together in harmony, selflessly contributing to the greater good. But guess what? People are lazy, selfish, and horny. That last one's unrelated, but it's worth keeping in mind. Even if everyone's basic needs are met, there's no incentive to innovate, to strive, or to excel. Why bother working harder if you're never gonna personally reap the benefits from it? Why develop new technologies or processes if there's no reward? Without incentive, progress slows to a crawl if it happens at all. And eventually, even with infinite resources, the inefficiency of the system ensures they're wasted or mismanaged. Let's go back to our immortal space communists with unlimited sticks. Suppose Eve runs a local stick collective. She doesn't have to earn her position, she was probably voted in by a bunch of other Eves in some bureaucratic nightmare of a council. Now, Eve's job is to manage the sticks, distribute them fairly, keep track of inventory, make sure everyone has their share. But Eve doesn't care about efficiency or fairness. Why should she? There's no competition, no accountability, no risk of being fired. So Eve starts slacking off. She gives her friends the best sticks, loses half the inventory to mismanagement, and eventually decides she's too stressed to work and takes a mental health sabbatical. Adam, meanwhile, is left stickless, wondering why the hell we stuck in a system where nobody's motivated to do their damn job. And that's the inherent flaw in socialism, or one of many, rather. It removes the why from human behavior. Under socialism, Adam has no reason to innovate, and Eve has no reason to be competent. The whole system falls apart, not only because of scarcity, but because it fundamentally misunderstands human nature. If we had infinite resources, commies would unironically just find a way to make infinity suck. So even if you solve scarcity, you still can't have laziness, corruption, and the universal human tendency to ask, what's in it for me? In other words, you can't have communism. Now let's go back to Eden. Most think of it as perfect, but perfection really isn't attainable. Best you can do is most perfect. In Eden, yeah, food was free, but time and effort wasn't. Which is fine, by the way. Doesn't make it any less good. Utopian thinking is generally pretty negative, really. Socialists love their utopias, it's too bad everyone dies trying to build them. The reality is that scarcity is baked into the universe. It's why economics exists. If we lived in a world with infinite resources and zero opportunity cost, we'd probably just vibe. But we don't because the laws of thermodynamics exist. Even in Eden, life required choices, and choices mean trade-offs. And trade-offs, frankly, they're what make life interesting. Honestly, if you got everything you wanted, you probably wouldn't know what to do with it. I know I wouldn't. I'd still find something to complain about. I guess the only conclusion I can come to is that at the end of the day, capitalism's biggest flaw is that it lets communists access the internet. Gotta get these people out of here. They're retarded! Someone get retards off the internet! Why are we letting retards online? Dude. Anyway, goodbye. Like, subscribe, give me your suggestions, I'm gonna make videos about them. So, suggest shit in the comments. You guys have a fantastic day, phenomenal day, the best day. Love you guys, goodbye.